Well, hey everyone, it's Markus and welcome to more chatting in my jungle room. I am really pumped today because I'm heading over to the US where I'm talking to Jag. He is, of course, from A Skylit Drive. Jag, how are you today?
Amazing. Thank you.
Awesome. Hey, the reason why we're chatting is because you are heading over to Australia for your 2025 Australian tour in November. Are you pumped for it already?
Oh, absolutely. I can't wait.
It's going to be a thrill. Obviously, you're coming over here with Scary Kids, Scaring Kids Tour. You're going to be doing all of Australia, which includes Adelaide on the 18th of November. So I'm totally excited. I'll be there at the Lion Arts Factory. But you kick it off 14th of November in Brisbane, and then you wrap it up 19th of November in Perth. What can we expect from the tour?
I think it's going to be a lot of energy, a lot of nostalgia mixed in with, newer material as well. I know that, we've got a wide discography, so a lot of options to choose from, when constructing our set. So I think it's going to be really fun for, fans, whether they're new fans of the band, old fans of the band. I think that there's a little bit of something for everyone to enjoy.
2005, essentially, you officially, formed a Skylit Drive, which is 20 years this year. So congratulations on that. Where did that 20 years go? Crazy.
Man, I can't even believe and talk about like how long back.
Man, that's wild. And then obviously your first album came out in 2007, She Watched the Sky. And you've done seven albums since that, some studios, some live, etc. But 2015's ASD was the last album that we've received from you guys so far. Is there any new music on the way?
Yeah, so I mean, since then, we've done like a handful of singles since then, like over like the last like 2 to 3 years. But right now we're really focused on more of a full catalog or like a full length album to hopefully get out there as soon as possible. So that's really been a big focus of ours this year is writing on more than just one new song is getting enough material to put out like another full length album to really just you know kind of forge that next step of the band and put a new face to the name, I guess.
Well, I mean, and look, the way that we deliver music these days has totally changed from the early days anyway, because of the way that, the consumers, consume the music, I guess.
Absolutely.
So obviously when you started back in, with 2007's first album to now, how do you think the music industry has changed, if at all?
I mean, it has changed tenfold. I mean, since around that time, it wasn't long before that I was graduating from high school. So, just the resources to a musician, back then it's almost like you needed to be on a record label to have the type of funding to get into these studios that you needed to be into to have the kind of backing to properly publish the record, distribute the record, to get the right agent. Where this whole new trend of independency and like the TikTok artists and like it's completely reshaped not just our music scene, but just the music scene in general. And also just how you said, like, you hit the nail on the head of, how people, choose to consume their music now is just so much different. And also just the options that gives the artist to on how to make your music available and which avenues, whether it be social media that you want to push things. Absolutely, like the resources that are there for an artist are totally different. But of course, with all of that does come pitfalls that, there's more artists now. Like there's, compared to back then, it's tenfold a much more full cup when it comes to, the amount of artists who have the same access to resources because it is such a more almost like a independent vibe. Having more open resources does have some pitfalls, but at the same time I say, hey, like the best one's going to reach to the top. The ones who work hard, nothing replaces hard work,
Yeah.
and good quality content. So yeah, I'm game for it either way. I'm still enjoying it. I'm still just trying to, write what's true to me, and use this outlet as my passion, and and just only hope that people can enjoy it.
So, Jag, when you're producing your new music, where are you essentially finding most of your inspiration these days?
Um, I mean, honestly, like I feel like my answer is kind of like, even from back in high school, I always kind of draw inspiration just from my experiences. I try to not force things. I try to not pull it. There's people, who are like, hey man, like write this song about me or write this about that. And it's like, well, I don't really have any experience with that. Like I'm not really thinking that when I listen to this song. A lot of what I do is I write about what the song makes me feel, whether it's something that makes me happy or sad, or uh, it's really whatever the music, is speaking to me, and then I just let that naturally, come out, and then I, dive in more from there. Like once I kind of have it honed in on, what, this really makes me think about this, or it makes me feel this way. So I'm really gonna just, focus on those feelings when I'm writing it.
And obviously, speaking about feelings, one of the original members of A Skylit Drive, Jordan Blake, passed away in 2023, although he had left, which is when you came into it all. But he did do a bit of a comeback in the latter years, didn't he, with you for a small period of time before he passed away. My point is, how much, did his passing influence any of the music that is getting created by you guys now?
I mean, it absolutely, brought inspiration to me. I can't speak for everybody, you know, who's like helping me create it. I had my own personal ties to him, which, like most of the guys who are now in the band with me, maybe didn't know him personally. And honestly, I didn't really know him personally until kind of, like the latter part of his life, unfortunately. Um, you know, for one reason or not, we always kind of had lives that moved somewhat parallel. They just, for whatever reason, didn't, cross, very often. And it wasn't until we got older and I guess, wise enough to realize, hey, maybe we should just talk. Like maybe should see. I mean, like we have these lives that have kind of been so close. And then, like we thankfully were be able to, were able to to get closer. Unfortunately, it was, in the latter years of his life, but I'm glad that we were able, to have the time for that.
Yeah, 100% agree. And I mean, we need to, I think we've been all woken up a little bit these days that we need to appreciate the days, and really immerse ourselves in life a little bit more, invest a bit more, right? Um, hey, going forward, like, these days, who do you look up to? Who do you admire in the industry? Who's kicking some butt for you at the moment?
I mean, I'm such like an old grump when it comes to music. I don't know. I feel like I'm always like the first person to be like, man, like I like totally buy into that the music from like your teens to your 20s, like those like formulative years, like really do shape how you view music. Like, and that's really like the benchmark of how you gauge music. But I will say that one artist that continues to impress me out of like current artists, is the band Dayseeker. I think that what they're doing is awesome. I'm huge on singers. So for me, if you got a talented, entertaining singer, that goes a long way for me. But yeah, like I definitely enjoy like what it is that they're doing. Um, so they would probably be my standout.
And you have been to Australia before, and indeed you've been to Adelaide before. What are you looking forward to most about getting back to Australia? What's one of the first things you're going to do? Apart from the tour, of course.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, like the shows, I'm of course looking forward to, kind of getting reacquainted with the Scary Kids guys. Like that's going to be a lot of fun. Um, and I know that I've said this in other interviews, but I love just the difference in all of the cities. Like it isn't like, one size fits all. You'll go to one city, it'll feel very European, then another feels more Americanized, and then you go back and all of them just have their own vibe, and I really enjoy that. Um, definitely sightseeing. I know that thankfully we got to do a lot of that last time, but as mentioned, all the guys I'm taking with me haven't been there, so that's even fun. Just kind of like getting to kind of take them as well to kind of experience these things, over again, and I didn't have my daughters back then, so like that's gonna be a lot of fun to like hopefully be able to FaceTime and stuff and kind of bring them into experiences. Even with the time difference, I'm going to do like what I can to, bring them into the experience too.
Well, Jag, you're freaking lucky because at the moment we're right in the middle of winter here in Adelaide, and it is windy and it's cold and it's grey and it's wet outside. Thank goodness you're coming in November when it's summer. So there might be a bit of beach time for you yet.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm down.
Jag, congratulations on the announcement of the tour. I'm very much looking forward to it myself. And I know Adelaide has got a huge plethora of fans here waiting for you. It's the Scary Kids, Scaring Kids, and A Skylit Drive tour, which kicks off 14th of November, everyone, and wraps up on the 19th of November. Like I said, 18th of November, they are right here in Adelaide. Hopefully you get to experience a bit of the South Australian culture while you're here. And Jag, you have a great day, and I look forward to catching up in November.
Thanks. The same to you, Marcus.
Thanks, buddy. Bye.